Born out of the need to serve persons in the creative industry, particularly the music and recording industry. The Copyright Organization of Trinidad and Tobago, incorporated in 1984, is a non-profit organization formed to be an advocate for the protection of musical works in Trinidad and Tobago. COTT, as it is popularly known, is a global player in the management of music rights and a catalyst for the most efficient and creative approaches to the licensing of music. The organization exists to facilitate the legitimate use of Trinidad and Tobago's multidisciplinary music art form, for which the country is well known, and what as well creates the foundation for many other art forms to exist. According to COTT's Chief Executive Officer, Josh Rudder.
The creators and the creative sector, as we know, being the fastest growing sector in our region, needs to be properly represented if our creators are to be remunerated in the ways that they should be. And COTT's role in this entire process is to protect the rights of our creators, both locally and internationally.
As not to be confused with other organizations, COTT collects license fees on behalf of composers, authors, and publishers, both locally and internationally, when musical works are publicly performed, broadcast, recorded, transmitted on the internet, and/or otherwise communicated to the public. These fees are then distributed to the creators of the musical works and their publishers by way of royalties. As a member of International Confederation of Societies and Authors and Composers, and recognized by the World Intellectual Property Organization, COTT represents the works of over 3,000 local members and 3 million songwriters worldwide through reciprocal agreements with collecting societies around the world. At a conference hosted in November 2013 under the auspices of the Copyright Organization of Trinidad and Tobago titled Music Towards a Sustainable Economy, special focus was paid to fair value and some of the issues faced in Trinidad and Tobago and the region. At the conference, Assistant Vice President International and Broadcast Music Incorporated Consuelo Sayago, whose responsibility includes securing reciprocal agreements with foreign societies, maximizing international royalties, and developing beneficial distribution standards, endorsed the role of COTT in its 10-year partnership with BMI in seeking the interest of the creative community in the Caribbean.
We know that COTT has been working diligently and fighting for the rights of the creators for these 10 years. I've worked closely with COTT for 10 years. And they truly have been an example in the Caribbean, in the rights societies. Actually, all the rights societies in the Caribbean have set an example in their desire to protect these rights and their efforts with the users and the creative community and the consumers themselves. And I urge you, as the people of influence, you, the people in this room, are the people of influence, and I urge you to support the society and know that the songwriter is the root of the creative industries.
In his opening remarks, Senator the Honorable Vasant Bharath, Minister of Trade, Industry and Investment, underscored the value of developing the Trinidad and Tobago's creative industry, noting government's thrust to invest in developing alternative revenue streams away from the traditional oil and gas sector.
We have seen, much to our chagrin, that on many occasions when the price of oil and gas has fallen on the international markets, our revenue streams have fallen significantly. And of course, we are then in a cycle of what's called boom and bust economics, where because our revenue streams are just totally dependent on one resource, we find that we have to make significant adjustments. But essentially because we have failed to diversify our economy and our revenue streams away from oil and gas. So it's my hope that this seminar will bring to the fore the benefits that can accrue from putting some structure and organization around the music industry in Trinidad and Tobago. And I'm hopeful that all of the organizations that are represented here today will utilize their skills and expertise to pass on to the participants the issues relating to intellectual property rights in this particular sector.
The minister took time to paint a detailed picture of the role of music in our most prominent festival.
At a national level, our carnival remains by far the largest generator of revenue within that particular sector, producing about 154 million out of the 169 million and employing over 3,500 people. Carnival, of course, as you all would know, also plays an important role with regard to the exporting of music from Trinidad and Tobago. The government has established a new state enterprise under the Ministry of Trade, Industry and Investment called the Trinidad and Tobago Creative Industries Company, CreativeTT in short, which has the mandate to stimulate and facilitate the business and export activities of the local creative industries to generate national wealth. Under the auspices of CreativeTT, a subsidiary company, the Music Company of Trinidad and Tobago, MusicTT, will drive the development of this sector of the creative industries in Trinidad and Tobago. This is a sector that will foster innovation and creativity. It will build upon the cultural attributes, indigenous skills, and talents of our nationals.
Speaking to the importance of fair returns to the creators of music, Lydia Rose, General Manager of the Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors and Publishers, wanted all present to understand the business of music to enable further works to be produced.
One thing we are sure of, and it is undisputable, that music in our region has been the forerunner for our countries. For Jamaica, we know that reggae has carried our name far and wide throughout the globe, and also soca here in COTT. And without this music, I am sure our countries would not have been so well known throughout the world. And for that, we should all be proud to know that the region has a competitive advantage. Users, however, must return a fair value for music usage, which is a theme of the international delegation here. Because without a fair value being returned, the survival of the creators, it would not be that well, if I can put it that way. I mean, the creators need a fair return on their investment, just like teachers, just like doctors. It is a job in and of itself. And if the creators don't get a fair return, they won't be able to continue to supply the industry. The COTT and societies like us are here to ensure that we protect our members' works. And we are all full members of CSAC. CSAC mandate is to promote the rights of creators worldwide by advocating for strong legal protection of copyright and other authors' rights.
CSAC, as the international organization vested with the responsibility to serve creators' rights worldwide, supported its director, General Olivier Hinnewinkle, who made himself available to not only deliver the feature address at the symposium, but to meet and have discussions with respective stakeholders on matters relative to the development of the industry.
We are here to make sure that all the stakeholders understand their responsibilities, understand what they have to do to ensure nothing more than a fair remuneration for creators so that they can continue to do their work. I'm here to support COTT. CSAC is here to support COTT. COTT is our member. COTT is a well-run collective management organization. COTT needs our help because we are concerned about a certain number of things that we see here in the region and in Trinidad and Tobago. We are here to discuss this with the stakeholders. Users have to pay. And it's about fair remuneration again. The law has to be a good law. And the law in Trinidad and Tobago is good. We want to bring our expertise, our experience, our worldwide experience and expertise to help. So if we can be of assistance, we would like to do that.
international recording artist Angela Hunt presented the perspective as a practitioner in the art form.
Being a singer-songwriter, being a creator, I can tell you, this is a job. I am living proof that this is something that is real and it is a real career. This is a music business, and this is what we are trying to make very aware to the singers and the songwriters and the musicians and the artists and painters, whoever, anyone who's a creator. This is a business, so you have to treat this as such.
Well, I think that COTT is the most important organization where the music industry is concerned. If you're looking for a collective management organization that takes care of the business, COTT represents that. COTT would be, and as a matter of fact, COTT came into existence when the Copyright Act became law. COTT would have been the organization that would have been established here in Trinidad and Tobago to take care of the works of the writers and the composers. Would have been replacing at the time the PRS, which they would have to go to England to get that kind of representation. So for the writers, the composers, the music publishers, for the fullness of representation in the industry, that COTT represents that in a serious way. The number of reciprocal agreements they have with collective management organizations across the world, the relationships with ASCAP, with CSAC, and so on. It stands to reason that when you're with COTT, you have a better chance of protection, not only locally, but on the international scene as well.
The Copyright Music Organization of Trinidad and Tobago is a creative organization. We are our members, meaning we represent 3,000 creators locally, as well as we have 3 million members that we represent internationally through the international agreements that we have existing. We are a collective management organization that license and remit royalties on behalf of creators throughout Trinidad and Tobago and internationally. There are a number of challenges that face COTT as an organization. One of these challenges would be the general awareness of copyright, and music copyright especially, and how one is affected or how one should use music. So there is that need for greater understanding as one of the challenges we have at the organization.
The minister in his presentation summarized what music is. If man is the best creation of God, then music is the best creation of man. For it not only touches the heart, but also manifests the implicit humanity and sensitivity which separates us from the animal. Great music has and will continue to stir the entire world.